Okay, hello, Richard. We are live.
Are we live?
We are live.
Right,
Currently
hold it. I'm on the live stream. I'm just waiting for it to start so I can turn it off.
Okay. Well, I'm going to play your intro music while you're sorting it out. Good evening, Richard. I drove my tractor through your haystack last night.
I threw me fish hard and you're down to deep boil. I am not telling me that you won't lie to me.
Very good evening to you, Rich. Thanks for joining me. My great apologies for not being able to join you.
No apologies, mate. You can't undo what's done. That upset me, that.
Yeah, it upset me.
I didn't know what to do.
Awful.
No, you had a crisis, Rob, and I had a cry because you weren't there. You know, two's better than one, mate. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's always, this is what it's all about, interaction, and you know, if you're just talking on your own, like I said before, I might as well just make a video if you've got something to say. But it's about interaction and getting it's getting feedback, isn't it? Getting feedback, input, output.
That's it. Yeah.
You put your input.
I did feel awful, Richard. I promised you faith I was going to join you, and just unforeseen occurrence, and I wasn't even able to let you know on the evening. You know, the last I knew, I was going to be coming on hopefully at 8 o'clock, and it all just went well.
Tits up.
You know,
that's the little birds, those little blue tits up until they hit 5G.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you for giving us the support. We're talking about Easter tonight, aren't we, Richard?
We're talking about Easter. Can I just say to David, I made a comment on my notification video, and it's highlighted. It should be highlighted in blue. If you click that one, that is, you know, it's a highlighted blue. So I guess you can come in if you want to come in. We can try it that way. Hello, Paul. All's good. Lorraine Wood. Hello. Robert Wild. That name rings a bell.
That's what Quasimodo said.
I was just going to say, yeah. I was just going to say something to the Hunchback. But yeah. So David, if you you should have had a notification about the comment I made. If it works, then that's a bonus, isn't it? It's another way. I smacked my nose earlier on.
Never.
Yeah, really hard. It's as tender as a, well, I don't know. It's as tender as a tender thing.
Well, when you pick it, Rich, try using one finger instead of three, mate. It'll be a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, if God could say, Richard, pick your nose, I said I wouldn't pick this one. I'll pick one. I'll pick one that ain't. I'll pick the whole one, not a half. But I've actually got a prosthetic. I'll show you if I can find it. Just while we're waiting for things to warm up, there it is. Now I don't actually wear this. I got two of them. Can you see that?
It looks like a quaver to me. Is it cheesy? Bit like you, Richard. Cheesy. No, I'm only kidding.
I ain't cheesy, mate. I ain't cheesy.
I know. You're not a mincer, are you?
Not Minster, no. Minster, yeah. The church, honestly, the church is fallen, mate. I'm a witness to what's happening in the church. And it's all to do with what we're talking about now. Sun worship, moon worship, paganism. But let me show you this a minute, because the guy that made it, he sort of put me on, and he was the one that actually gave me that. Pilgrim's Progress, John Bunyan. He actually gave me that.
Oh, what's that? I watched that video, Rich.
The cartoon video.
Yeah, I loved it.
What do you reckon? It's absolutely amazing, isn't it?
It is. I would recommend that to anybody to watch.
Yeah, it's absolutely, you know, it's for children, mate. Children and adults. We're all children anyway, of just of varying ages. But it's absolutely superb for children. Do you reckon? Or is it just me and my delusion? I had to put a plaster on it.
No, I think it's directed for children, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because, well, I saw it as a family thing. Parents to sit down with their kids and watch it. There's a lot of morals and you know.
Well, it's a walk of Jesus, mate. It's staying on that straight and narrow path, isn't it?
That's right.
That's what it's all about. But it's putting. I mean, this book is absolutely. My mum said, "What's she 77 this next month?" She said, "Oh, we used to read that at school. We got that, Richard. We read that at school. This used to be a curriculum book at school."
Right.
And it's like it's sort of like an easy. It's just, and that, you know, that giant great Bible I've got, that old Bible.
Yeah, I want you to do another video about
that. Yeah. I will do. I've got shitloads, mate, of videos to make. But he's actually mentioned. He's cross-referenced with this John Bunyan, because I think John Bunyan was inspired by. It was either John Bunyan was inspired by John Brown, or John Brown was inspired by John Bunyan, or something like that. Which whoever was second was inspired by one, but it's sort of like cross-referenced as being a sort of like an inspiration. So it's, you know, it's one of these little unique coincidences. You think, how come it's been given to me for a thing? It just makes me think, oh gosh, it's like gifts of God. Let me get myself
there. Stop you there. Paul Fisher's come up with a comment. Why do they call it Good Friday? As it wasn't good that Jesus died on the day, and are they sick by calling it Good Friday?
No, it had to happen, didn't it? It is finished. That's what he said. It is finished. He had a job to do. He had a role to do. This is how I see it. I don't know the connotations behind Good Friday in that context, but at the end of the day, that he had to do that. He had to be like, would martyrdom be the right sort of word?
Probably the best word. He had to be sacrificed.
Yeah, he had to sacrifice himself, and then he said, "It is finished." That was the last words. It is finished. So that is the goodness. The goodness is he's brought his message. That's the end of my message. Bang! It is finished. Good.
Yeah.
You know, I'll look at the positive. If it's these Satanists, paganists that have named it Good Friday, they're totally wrong, because it you know, that's the way I see it.
The Bible says
finished.
This, doesn't it?
Say again?
Sorry, go on, carry on. I'll let you finish.
It is finished.
All right.
That was it. Sorry, that's the only thing I can think of, really. To
right.
Hello,
Bob. You know what the Bible says about death? It says the day of one's death is more important than the day of one's birth. Now that might not make a lot of sense to some people.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, what happens at death? You've shown over your lifestyle what your intentions, what you want to, how you feel about, you know, whether you want to be a good person or a bad person. Yeah.
It's making that choice. Yeah.
You have, at the end of your days, either proven that you are worthy to be called a Christian, or worthy to be repentant enough to be able to be accepted by Christ and his promises for what he promises for everybody.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that's why, you know, like, I mean, this is going on to another topic, and maybe we'll talk about this another time, but December the 25th, we all know Jesus wasn't born on December the 25th.
Well,
and Jesus himself said at the Last Supper, keep doing this in remembrance of me. He didn't say, remember my birthday. He said, keep doing this in remembrance of me. So his death was more important than his birth.
Don't
get me wrong, his birth was important through Mary, but it was what he came to do, and that was his goal and what he achieved.
Absolutely. But his birth, his whole life was as important as the beginning. Surely is as important as the end. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been here. He wouldn't have had that life. The same with all of us.
Yeah.
You know, death is the end of the life. It's, you know, it's not. Go on.
I was going to say, I was talking to you about that, what I read about on Christianity.com. It says, is Easter pagan in origin and roots? And it says, all the fun things about Easter are pagan. Bunnies are a leftover. I was half tempted, Rich, to come on here tonight with a pair of bunny ears on, but I thought, no, best not. Anyway, bunnies are a leftover from the pagan festival of Easter. Hot cross buns are related to Israelites baking sweet buns for an idol and religious leaders trying to put a stop to it.
Yeah.
Eventually, defiant cake baking pagan women were successful, and a cross was added to the buns to Christianize them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's, you know, this is what I said. I've said it before. It's like somebody going in a church and sitting there with a Bible with a porn mag in the middle. And going back to your on about bunnies, you know Playboy. I'm not saying you've ever read it, but Playboy, what have they got? It's the Bunny Club, isn't it?
That is really good point, Richard.
Yeah,
that is a really
that's
good
just
point.
come into my turnip.
Into your sweet.
David Goddard, did you check on my notification video? You know that little video I did, that short video, and you commented. I posted the link in there. It should come up blue in there. If you go and have a look at my video, and if you click on it, that should take you to like the waiting room for this. You just got to set up your camera or your mic, turn your mic on, turn your camera off if you want. But I put a link in under the comment. I actually commented to your comment with this link. 3 watching, 8 likes. How many's watching, Rob?
It says 4 on the screen. So he probably, when he put that in, there was probably 3 watching and 8 likes. So yeah, playing games with numbers.
Well, I liked it.
Best.
I liked it twice. No, I didn't actually. If you like it twice, that unlikes it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hello, Bon. Bon is good. Greetings, Bon. Is that Bon is good? Bon.
Greetings all from Bon.
Bonjour, Bon.
Say bon. Say bon, Bon.
Yeah. So yeah, but you know, December the 25th. This again is pagan. It's worshipping sun gods, Apollyon, all the birth of all these little artificial gods. That is what December the 25th is. Jesus Christ is the only God that wasn't born on December the 25th out of all the ones the pagans worship.
Well, we don't know the date when Jesus was born, do we?
We don't. We don't.
Give that information. But going back to Easter, Rich, it says the name Easter was derived from Iostra, which was originally a Saxon word denoting a goddess of the Saxons, in honor of whom sacrifices were offered about the time of the Passover. This fact causes many to wonder if Easter is actually a pagan holiday and if it should be celebrated by Christians.
Yeah. Where does the name Easter come from?
It says here it's derived from Iostra, which was a Saxon word, and it was a goddess of the Saxons.
Okay. Derived from. I might look it up in a minute, but this is the thing. East is where the sun rises, Rob.
That's true, yeah.
So perhaps there's something to do with Easter. We'll bow to the east, to the rising sun.
Is that on a ball earth or a flat earth?
Well, I live on a flat earth and it comes up in the east, so it's on a flat earth, yeah. Or actually, no, it's not. It's not. I live on a bumpy earth. On that's got level water on it. But yeah, so there's another little sort of quirk to language, really. Everything comes down to language and interpretation of language, and how even like, you know, Santa Claus would go into December 20th. Santa is an anagram of Satan. And a lot of people say, it's just coincidence. And
Same
then
as
clause.
NASA.
What's a clause? The same as NASA. What's a clause? A clause is like an agreement, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you celebrate, and it's like Sunday worship, Sunday worship.
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm old enough, you might remember this as a thing, was Monday used to be Sunday used to be the first day of the week on a calendar. It used to be the first day of the week, Sunday. And then somewhere along the lines, it changed. They changed it to Monday being the first day of the week because it was the first working day of the week.
Yeah.
Which meant Sunday was a Sabbath. But Sabbath, I mean, I lived on Crete. I was on Crete for a year, and so I know a little bit of Greek, a little bit of conversational Greek. But I know that Saturday was Sabbato.
What's a Greek earn?
Oh, about 8 drachmas a week. I think they're euro now. I've got some drachma up there actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely adored Greece. I would have stayed there. It was family issues brought me back, but I'd probably still be out there now if it wasn't for if I wasn't saved really, because I'd be totally lost out there. I'd have probably got murdered by invading Muslims and things like that. They don't really quite understand that they've been set up to do the work of the Antichrist, and that is to persecute the Christians. That's as I see it. It's a manufacturer, because I've got loads and loads and loads of Muslim friends, and none of them have got any animosity towards me. We shake hands, we hug. I hug a Muslim. A Muslim hugs me. Yeah. So the animosity ain't coming from that.
When I come down to Somerset, Richard, I'm going to give you the biggest hug you've ever received. You know that?
Oh, it'll have to be a big one, mate, because I've had some big hugs in my time.
You'll get the biggest ever from me, I can assure you.
As long as there's no tongues, Rob. As long as there's no tongues.
No tongues, no. Somebody said to me, they said, "What's the most disgusting thing?" And I said, let me think about that. I said, oh yeah, when you go to kiss your grandmother goodbye and she sticks her tongue down your throat.
Yeah, that let me tell you something about that comment there, Rob. You should take it off really. And I'll tell you something about it.
Watch the water.
Yeah, and don't mention it. Right, because there's something about it that YouTube don't like, and I've watched 2 channels get deleted. I've actually put a link up on BitChute to it.
Right. I'm a bit confused there.
What it's basically talking about. Yeah, I've watched a large part of it, Lorraine, and then I thought, right, I'm going to record this. But I didn't get back to it. I've still got it, but I put a link up on my BitChute account to it. But 2 channels got deleted because one of them just mentioned it in their title and put a link to it on YouTube, and the other one was like a trailer, official trailer. So it's all to do with the you know what. Come and have a look at what you would have won if you'd have been any good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're playing, let's have a game of darts, super smashing. It's to do with that. And yeah, I've watched it, Lorraine, and it is, if it's true, you know, if it's true, then it's just so evil. The amount of evil in these people is just beyond comprehension, really. You know, I got to a point where I'm, you know, I actually, this is what I do. I actually, when I'm digging on my allotment, I actually pray to protect the worms. God, to protect the worms, please don't let me harm the worms when I'm digging. So I wouldn't even harm a worm. And if I step on a snail, I don't kill slugs or snails. I fling them over the fence into the playing.
But if I step, creation, isn't it?
Well, absolutely, yeah. Everything has been put on this earth with a purpose. Even bindweed, I think bindweed. What purpose has bindweed got? But if you let it grow, the flowers are really sort of beautiful. So, you know, it's just, you know, it's just so invasive. A lot of people call it a weed, but I'm quite sure it's got it's everything is that God created has a function on this earth.
Yeah.
So it's like worms. Without worms, we'd be totally starved, like bumblebees. And
Oh, bees are lovely creatures. They're so important to our environment. Bees.
Everything.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I say, please God, please don't let me harm any. Protect the worms, please protect the worms.
Well, they do a great, very important work on our soil, the earthworm.
They're more important than you and me, Rob.
Mm.
You and me, we were given dominion to look after the earth, and we totally cocked it up. Not you and me personally, but we've inherited that.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Just wanted some feedback. Thank you all, Lorraine. Yeah, it's scary stuff. And again, it's a snake again, isn't it? Satan.
Yeah.
Santa. Look at it, the International Space Station, ISS.
NASA.
It's a sound of snake, mate. And and what that film is about, it's about snakes. A specific snake and what they're doing with specifics of that specific snake. But you know the British government have got this like task force, haven't they? Where the MPs are involved in. It's COBR, Cobra. Did you know that? Have you heard of Cobra?
Yes, I did. Yes.
An acronym for something in the British government, which is a task force. Why is it called Cobra?
Yeah, another snake.
It doesn't even make sense. The acronym ain't an accurate. You know, it's not COBRA something. It's you know, something totally not the same as. You know, my initials are RAH. My acronym is RAH. Richard Allen Harbury. I'm not going to go off and say my name is RB2DX12H just because I think, oh, that sounds nice. It's RAH. It's representative of what I am, what my name is. So simple as that.
Harbury.
Richard Harbury. I hadn't thought of that. Richard Harbury. Paul Fisher.
Bunnies and hunt for colourful eggs. The hare and egg are symbols associated with Easter, that Saxon god, representing the beginning of springtime in Germanic mythology. It is said that Eostra healed a wounded bird she found in the woods by changing it into a hare, which is where the Easter bunny comes from.
You have to repeat that, Rob. I want attention.
Sorry, you want me to repeat that?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so the hare and egg are symbols associated with the goddess Eostra, representing the beginning of springtime in Germanic mythology. It is said that Eostra healed a wounded bird she found in the woods by changing it into a hare. Still partially a bird, the hare showed its gratitude to the goddess by laying eggs as gifts. So maybe that's where the Easter eggs come in, as well as representing fertility.
Well, I think rabbits, bunnies, it's the Easter bunny, not the Easter hare. Bunnies are synonymous with mass reproduction, aren't they? So it's, and the little bit of information that I found on it about the pagan Easter is it's basically like an orgy. It's a time to be orgy, a time for orgies. It's a sex. It's a sex. As everything pagan is, it's all about sex and debauchery and you know, and sacrificing things like animals and human beings just for no reason, really. But they're up there now. People should know by now. You know, sacrificing an animal because you want it to rain because it ain't rained for 6 months and you want it to rain. So let's sacrifice a reindeer to see if if it rains. We know that doesn't work. You know, it's nothing to do with things like that. You know, it's not to appease the rain clouds or anything like that, or even, you know, they don't believe in God Almighty as having an ultimate.
So what would happen if I ate an ostrich burger?
You'd end up, I'd probably, I don't know, bury your head in the sand, Rob. It's good for ostriches are good for burying their heads in the sand. Apparently, but that's a myth. They don't bury their heads in the sand.
No. Somebody said to me, "Do you know what a myth is?" And I said, "Yeah, it's a female moth."
Mr. A Myth. Yeah, you can't even say that now, Rob. You can't. You're not allowed to be called Mister. In fact, actually, Mister is part of your straw man. Mister, the is it a pronoun, pre-noun, something like that?
Yeah.
Is part of your corporate entity, which is why you get Mr. Rob Wild on a bill, all in capitals, from the council or from the government or something. Is the Mr. bit is you want to. We were created man and woman by God Almighty. Yeah. Whatever people do with their bits is up to them. Whatever people want to label themselves is up to them. But you know, a government's struggling to describe what the difference between a man and a woman is, just because they don't want to offend anybody. So everything's getting away from, everything's forcing away from God's simple narrative. There's a man and there's a woman. There's a beast. There's a creepy thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's a herb yielding seal. There's a tree. There's the earth. It's all simple stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but these people, these world leaders, they've let this God concept, this Freemasonry be your own God concept, just totally take over their heads. That's as I see it. They do actually think they are gods.
Well, do as you wish. That's one of their, you know, in that sense, you are a god. You can do what you like, type of thing.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And all these people that worship Satan, like, and I thought this today, they're going to rock concerts worshiping Satan. Are they thinking that when they get, this is what hell is going to be like? It's going to be all rock concerts and sex. Is that what they're thinking? Is that, and you know, copious amounts of alcohol? Is that what they're thinking hell is going to be like?
Wow.
Because if it is, well, it's tempting, isn't it? But I don't think hell is going to be anything like that, because you've got to, you know, it's angry stuff. I
mean, hell is a topic for another day, because I think a lot of people have misinterpreted what hell actually means. Because going back to the original Greek, hell, or Hades, or Sheol, is the common grave of all mankind.
Yeah.
And what did God say to Adam when he told him about eating from the tree of knowledge in the middle of the garden? In the day you eat from it, you will positively die. Right? So he didn't say you'd go into some other existence like down below or somewhere else. He said you will die.
Yeah.
And the Bible also clearly states that the dead are conscious of nothing at all.
Yeah.
The Bible quite clearly says that. But it's not the end. People say, well, I want to go to heaven. I've been a good person. I want to go to heaven. But what you've got to remember is God purposed humans to fill the earth, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, have the animals in subjection, blah, 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 and to live a life on the earth, flesh and blood. Now, I'm not saying the Bible speaks of a number going to heaven, but people confuse heaven and hell. They think, well, that's where all the good people go, and that's down below is where all the bad people go.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that when you die, you're conscious of nothing, but we have the hope of the resurrection back to the earth.
Yeah. Replenish the earth. This is what I believe. I believe God will say, right, this is this now. Now, I mean, this is the thing. What are we up to? About 6,000 years. We're on 6,000 years, aren't we? 4,000 years of Egyptians, and then 2,000 years of since Jesus Christ. So that's 6,000 years. Now, a year is a no.
1,000 years is 1 day.
1,000 years is 1 day, and a day is 1,000 years. So if we got 6,000 years, okay, which will possibly be the equivalent of 6 days to God.
Yeah.
And on the 7th day, God had finished. He'd finished his creation. So there's a possibility that the 6,000 years of lineage we've got since like the history of Egypt going back, that'll be 6,000 years, which will be the equivalent of 6 days. So we might be close to the end of the 6 days when God says, right, it's finished. I've finished. I'll put my feet up.
Yeah.
And then
another good point about that, Richard, is with the 6 days and the 6 days being as a 1,000, 1 day being as 1,000 years, people say, why hasn't God done something by now?
Yeah.
You know, he's got all these terrible things go on. What you've got to remember is our time scale is totally different from God's.
Yeah.
It's like a butterfly. How long does a butterfly live? Now, I think it's only a day or maybe a couple of days when it actually. But to that butterfly, it probably feels like 70 years.
Say that again.
To a butterfly, that time period that it's alive probably feels like 70 years. But to the butterfly that we know, to us, it's not. So time scales in every person it's like a dog or a cat.
I was just going to say, yeah.
You know,
they got a lifespan.
Yeah.
And you know, like us, we get to, we're born, we get to 10, we get to 20, we get to 30, up until we're, I don't know, you know, 15 and bits start falling off. You know, some people make it to 90.
Oh my, it stopped off.
Oh, well, I'll start calling you madam now. Or is it miss?
Well, in this day and age, I'm quite entitled to be known as. In fact, I wrote a letter to the council the other day. Yeah, I had an accident walking down the road, and I said there was. I fell down an open manhole, and the council came back to me and said you can't call it a manhole anymore. It's called a person hole.
Yeah, it's called a manhole because men used to go down it. It's a hole, doing the dirty work down a hole. But you
can't call it a manhole anymore. It's a person hole.
I'll call it a manhole. If I see a woman down it, I'll say, "What are you doing down that manhole?" She'll say, "Eh." Or no, actually, if I see a lady down a manhole, I'll call it a lady hole. But you know,
hey, be very careful what you say there, Richard.
Yeah, I know. I just thought that. You know, there's certain etiquettes. It's gone mental, Rob, isn't it? It's gone mental. But it's another. It's just another one of these things to confuse people, to give people a feeling of importance just within themselves. Think, oh yeah, I'm going to call myself a tree to make me feel important and different. Yeah, it's a load of bull.
Yeah.
Really. You know, and if I ever get, you know, if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'll address them by their name. I won't say, "Oh, Mister" or yeah. No, I wouldn't do that. Sir, I don't use the word sir. Jimmy Savile was a sir, and if people call me sir, I just say, please don't call me sir. And so many people say, "Oh, it's polite." I say, "Well, not to me, it ain't. I take offence at it."
Yeah.
And it all stems down to knighthoods, Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris. It's all these people that have, and you know, the House of Lords. What's all that about?
Yeah.
The House of Lords. There's only one Lord, mate. Oh, there's Michael Flatley as well, Lord of the Dance.
Yeah, yeah.
Call for backup. How you doing, my friend? What does scare the bejesus mean? Frighten, annoy, to frighten, annoy. Put that one up, Rob. Annoy, to frighten, annoy, bore, etc. Someone very much. Scare the bejesus. Well, scare the. I mean, it's a term for like scare the shit out of somebody, isn't it?
That's what it means, yeah.
That's what it's a term for. So it's sort of blasphemy.
It's
blasphemy.
Taking his name in vain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But things
It's
like
like
that.
when people say, Jesus, you know, in exclamation when they're shocked, or, you know, basically it boils down to blasphemy, doesn't it?
Well, is that something that's been introduced into the British or the world psyche just to say, you know, if they put it out on, if they repeat enough in films and movies and teledramas, and they use this stuff so much that it becomes like a catchphrase, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Or sometimes they say, Jesus Christ, you know, and it's really using his name in vain. The only time you should use Jesus' name, and I'm coming off the subject of what we were originally talking a little bit about here,
Well,
but, you know, like, you know, with these alien encounters that people have had,
yeah,
where they think they've had an alien come into their room, those that have prayed to Jesus and called on Jesus' name to remove this entity, they've gone when they've called on the name of Jesus. And you know why that is? Because the demons shudder at the name of Jesus.
Yeah, I've had that experience,
They
Rob.
shudder. You've had
that, man. I told you, didn't I? Yeah, you know about that. Honestly,
yeah.
A lot of people poo-poo it and think no, but you know, because they haven't tried it. But they haven't tried it with all their everything.
Yeah.
They haven't just been saying, listen, you know, just bow down and said, listen, please, I need help. I'm not happy being what I am, really. Oh, for crying out loud.
You've gone off
again. Yeah, it's just that I keep getting this update thing. Update your driver. Like I said before, I'm not letting Bill Gates near my laptop. So I'll just keep playing around with it. I'll just keep dipping in and out.
Richard, what's wrong with Bill Gates? He's fantastic what he's done. He's given us this miraculous cure. He's given us all this lovely plant substitutes. You know, we should be grateful.
Yeah, no, I'm not grateful. I got no regard for him whatsoever. Really.
No,
I do feel sorry for him, but you know, because he's part of his nurture. That's the way he was nurtured, to be like that. Same with everybody. Everybody's nurtured. It's like worshipping, like just taking for granted that Easter is all about going out and doing egg hunts. Oh, here we go again. That's what Easter's all about. Just because it's part, and Christmas and all these things. That's because it's been nurtured, and it's a part of the culture of the world, really. Apart from those who don't celebrate Christmas. But you know.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, Deborah Roll. Hello, Deborah. Richard Ghost. Yeah. Woo. Spooky. Words. Original version, 1983. Words. Video cannot be monetized. Copyright owners believe music on behalf of Moonlight Mainlight. Words.
I'm just going to quote a little bit more of this that I was reading earlier, Rich. It says, following the advent of Christianity, the Easter period became associated with the resurrection of Christ, yeah?
Yeah.
In the first couple of centuries after Jesus' life, feast days in the new Christian church were attached to old pagan festivals.
Yeah.
Spring festivals with the theme of new life and relief from the cold of winter became connected explicitly to Jesus having conquered death by being resurrected after the crucifixion.
Amen. Praise. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Honestly, I'm looking forward to dying. I've always looked forward to dying. I'm not in a rush to get there, you know, but when my time's come, I think, yeah. Because I'm curious. Curiosity is made me think. This was even before I was a Christian, and a born again Christian. just going back decades, I always thought, oh, I'm looking forward to dying, just because I've seen enough of this world. And I've got an echo. Echo bonita. Yeah, and I just think, well, there's two options. Either there's nothing or there's everything after we die. And if there's nothing, this world's a torment. It really is. It's a torment. But I said this the other day. I say it a lot. I said it on my live stream actually. Is why are we here now, Rob? Why are you and me and all these people in the chat? And I know all the people in the chat got lovely hearts. I know it.
Yeah.
You sort of sense it, but why are we here now at this specific time? Like, we ain't far off the end times, really. I can't see it going another 100 years.
I think it's a lot less than that, Richard.
Oh, absolutely.
I think quite possibly in the next few years, I really can see it coming to it. I mean, when you look around and you see the gay pride movements, and I think of Sodom and Gomorrah and the days of Noah and what was going on then, but more so Sodom and Gomorrah. It is like a mirror of looking at Sodom and Gomorrah, what's going on today.
100%. 100%. And we could trace it back to say like the 60s with miniskirts and all that. That was a leap up from like people that covered their knees, ladies that covered their knees. I like to say ladies that covered their knees, covered their ankles. Here we go again. Ladies that covered their ankles, and then it was, you got to cover your knees, and then you got to, and then it was you up to what we see nowadays, which is people on stage, women on stage, and blokes on stage with next to nothing on, prancing around in public. So there's, perhaps in the 60s, there was this like massive step up to like all this debauchery and this
promiscuity.
Actually, yeah.
And
then it all sort of which it does tie into things like Easter, because Easter is a celebration that is traditionally, paganistically, is all about having sex, orgies, and things like that.
Yeah.
Because of the reference of bunnies and eggs. Bunnies in particular, because
rabbits and hares are associated with fertility and were symbols linked to the goddess Istra, which I mentioned earlier.
Istra.
The first association of the rabbit with Easter, according to Professor Kustak, excuse me, was a mention of the Easter hare in a book by German professor of medicine George Frank von Frankenau, published in 1722. And he recalls a folklore that hares would hide the coloured eggs that children hunted for, which suggests to us that as early as the 18th century, decorated eggs were hidden in gardens for egg hunts.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these celebrations, Easter, Christmas, Valentine's Day, they're all tied up in pagan connections.
Oh,
every single one of them.
Every
single one.
Yeah. What about the egg hunt, though, Rob? Imagine this: the egg hunt. Now, you must have heard of like the key swap. Flipping heck! Like some parties, they have like the key swap. Hotel room.
Oh yeah.
Like that. Now, if just imagine that you're doing, not you personally, but there's a party. It's called the egg hunt party, and all it is like going out. It's going out into like a garden, searching and pairing off. Couple pairing off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of connotations to it. Sneaking off in private, and that's the way it could be perceived.
Yeah.
But everything is all about, sex.
With Easter eggs, going back to Easter eggs as well. I mean, I mean, you know as well as I do. I don't know if you've been looking on the shops on the shelves. What you pay for an Easter egg now? If you bought a big bar of chocolate for what it would cost for the chocolate you get on an egg, it's absolutely scandalous.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Christmas. It's all been commercialized to spend. You know,
Yeah.
if I was a kid, you know, and somebody said to me, if my parents said to me, Rob, what would you like? Would you like a big 200-gram bar of Cadbury's chocolate, or do you want one of them eggs? I know what I'd pick.
You picked a bottle of cider, wouldn't you? Pick a bottle of wine.
No, I'd pick some of that, mate. Some of the lime tree Merlot.
Oh, Merlot.
One of my favourites.
Merlot. What's the percentage on that? What's the percentage?
13%.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 13.
Minimum wine I drink 13%, but I don't drink wine anyway. I'm not very keen on wine. I like port.
No, you don't. You drink cider.
No, I like port. Port. I can drink port with cider. Port.
Port and cider.
Yeah, it's got to be stronger. It's got to be strong stuff. I can't drink weedy wine. It's got to be port. It's got to be sherry. I like sherry, and then it's got to be brandy. So that's the sort of things when it comes to drinking. But they don't call them Easter eggs anymore, do they? Are they forbidden to call them Easter eggs now?
Not that I'm aware of. I think they're still called Easter eggs.
I don't think they're called Easter eggs, Rob.
What do they call them?
They call them something else. It's been for a few years now. They gradually eroded away the word Easter from the eggs. They call them something else now.
Oh, right. Okay. I mean, there's so many out there. All the chocolate companies do their own version of their egg, don't they? So,
yeah, I don't think
they're still known as Easter eggs. They're still known as that.
They're known as that, but they're not sold as that. They're not sold as Easter eggs. If you have a look on the shelves, it's all about money, Robert, that they make Easter, Christmas, Mother's Day, Valentine's, etc. Is it all about money, or is it all about deceit?
A combination of both, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Because we've got to remember what the ultimate aim is to actually destroy Jesus Christ. Is to destroy him. That's what the ultimate aim is, and which is why anybody that any Christian out there, they want to destroy them, and this is why I think we're getting this influx of Muslim, Islam, that aren't like the Muslims that I know. I've never come across an aggressive Muslim. I've never come across it, but I know they're out there. So they've been fed something in their mind. They've been fed something in the mind.
Well, they've been indoctrinated, haven't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much time you spend trying to undoctrinate them. Most of them, it's instilled in their brains, and they'll get maybe put away for so many years, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I don't think this way anymore. I don't think about what I want to. I want to kill people. I'm fine. I've sorted. I'm what's the word?
Rehabilitated.
That's it. Thank you. Rehabilitated.
No, they won't do that. They won't do that. That's denouncing God. If they're righteous to their God, to God, they will not denounce that, and that because that is the end of it for them.
Yeah, but there are.
They're not righteous to God, Rob. They're totally. It's like Satan in the church. It's like these. The Archbishop for one. Introduced politics into the church now, Church of England, which I'm still working on this video, but there's little things keep popping up about how the Church of England has become now worshipping both the sun and the moon. Easter, Ishtar, the moon goddess.
Yeah.
And like I said, they had the moon in St. Mary's Church.
Yeah. I watched that video, Rich. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
On your live stream, and that's part of my that's part of this bigger video, because it's about 4 minutes long, that little segment. But I've expanded it out just with all these little things that keep getting thrown, like Ishtar, Easter, Ishtar, moon goddess, and they got the moon. They got this 7-meter wide moon in this church that became a minster. Oh, here we go again. It became a minster. Now a minster is like it's sort of like a beacon church.
Yeah.
So it's like elevated up to like the pinnacle of a parish and beyond.
Yeah.
So, and the news report in the local paper said they've been planning this for 6 years, and they had the service on the 13th of March, which was a Sunday. Oh, luckily it went a Friday, but you know, I've borne witness to the fact that the church is fallen. Well, the church has always been fallen. What the church are now doing is they are letting it be known.
They don't care anymore. They don't care anymore.
They're at that time, Rob, when this is what they're doing. They're at that time where they're coming out of the closet.
Yeah. Stephen Watson's just made a good comment. Easter like Christmas, Tooth Fairy, Valentine's Day, Ball Earth, Father Christmas, all utter man-made garbage. Very true, Stephen. Very true. Paul Fisher, churches are corporations now in my eyes. You can talk to him upstairs without going to church. He will listen. Excellent point, Paul. And what did Jesus say? No one goes to the Father except through me. Looks like we've lost Richard temporarily, but I'm sure he'll be back shortly.
Something's happened to my camera. I think I've had my camera disconnected.
We can still hear you, Richard. We can still hear you.
It's actually changed. That's all right then. I'll fanny around in the background here, but my camera seems to have changed itself. How strange.
On our last video, do you remember when it all went, when we were talking about ship shifting and the video went really weird? Do you remember that?
Ship shifting?
Ship shaping, yeah. Ship
shifting. Yeah. Right, I'm going to give up on my camera a minute because
yeah, no worries, mate.
It's actually changed somehow.
Yeah, your voice is a little bit garbled as well.
Yeah, you're sounding garbled, mate. I'm going to come out. I'm going to go out and come back in.
All right, that's all right. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so Richard's left us temporarily. I'm sure he'll be back, get sorted out. Once again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We appreciate your feedback and your comments, and we love the chat. It seems like, well, everybody who's come on tonight has all got the same line of thought. They all think in the same way about Easter and all the other celebrations like Christmas and Valentine's, all tied up with pagan origins. And he said pagan oranges there. And the thing is, the churches don't teach this. None of the churches out there tell people, you know, that have like Christmas mass. We know Jesus wasn't born on December 25th, and we know, like Santa and like Richard said earlier, Santa Claus is a contract. Santa being an anagram of Satan. It's the Pope himself, and I've said this before, has got a telescope called Lucifer. What does that tell you? Lucifer, the name of, why would the Pope have a telescope called Lucifer? All tied up with NASA. Never a straight answer. Thank you, Deborah. Amen to you too, my friend. Yeah, yeah. It's shocking how how people are blinded by everything that's going on, and they go along with the flow, and they say, oh, it's all harmless, you know, like the birthday cake and the candles and the blowing out of the candles, all steeped in pagan origins. Every single remembrance, like what they say is significant days, like birthdays, Christmas, Easter, it's all tied up with pagan teachings, pagan origins. You know, Paul Fisher. Let's see what says there. Also, when this pandemic hit, they shut the churches, and let's face it, there is on the pandemic, there's not one said that take the mark of the beast. If there is on, hang on, let me just try and read that again. When this, oh, looks like Richard's giving me a call. Bear with me, people. Hello, Richard.
Robert, my computer crashed.
Okay.
I'm rebooting it.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure why. But I'm just rebooting it. So
could there be outside influences, maybe?
It's possible. It might be something to do with well, something actually changed my camera.
Right.
What it was, which was like an HD something up to an SP something. So I'm not really sure what.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'll sit tight for you, my friend. That's not a problem.
Sit tight.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll be there pretty soon. But it might take a few minutes for me to get up and running again. Because I've got a lot of it. Takes a few minutes to load up, wind up.
No worries. No, don't worry, Richard. I'll sit tight for you, my friend.
Sit tight, buddy.
Yeah, I'll speak to you soon.
I won't be long.
Okay.
God bless.
Okay. I don't know if everybody. I think everybody heard that message. He's working on getting his camera back up and running. Yeah. Okay, Paul. I've just worked out what you said there on that comment. There is no pandemic. Yeah, and they were all in on it. They certainly were. And it's because they're all dumbed down by smarter than them phone. Smartphones, yeah. We know why they call it smartphone, don't we? Back to talking code, Rob, but you get the gist. Yeah, I get the gist, Paul. And I totally agree with you, my friend. Totally agree with you. Hi, Steve. Smartphone, Paul. Yes, they're taking our kids down a very dark path. Yeah, on that line, Stephen, when I go to work on a morning, there's children, maybe as young as 6, 7-year-old, and they've got these iPhones, and they've got their heads buried in these iPhones. That's all they know. That's how they've been brought up. Maybe you class it as a babysitter, or to shut them up, keep them occupied. I don't know. When I was a kid, if I wanted to make a phone call, all right, yeah, I did have a house line, a landline at the time, but 9 times out of 10, I'd have to go to a call box. How times have changed. It's really, really, it's a very dark path, like you say, Stephen. It's scary stuff. It really is scary. Technology today and what they've done to the youth. Everything's directed towards the young ones, and that's all they've been brought up with. That's all they know. So people like myself, I'm 62 years old now. I've seen the different, how things have progressed over the decades, and it's gradually got worse and worse and worse. Technology. They say technology is here to improve things, to make things better. There's no way it's been made better. It's gone downhill, big style. I'm sure everybody agrees with me on that one. Paul Fisher, yes, Stephen, they need to leave the kids alone. Yeah, that's where they're aiming. That's where they're aiming the. That's what their target is. The youngsters. They're aiming it at the youngsters because they know they're the vulnerable ones, and the parents go along with it. Let me give you an example. When I was younger and I went to a store with my mother or my father or both or whatever, Before I went in that store, I was said, you stay by my side, you touch nothing, and you look with your eyes, not your hands. And I didn't touch anything. Nowadays, I mean, I work in retail. The kids run riot. They're running all around the place, touching things they shouldn't be. And the parents don't care. Talking about phones again, 9 times out of 10, the parents have got themselves buried, got their heads buried in their own phones, and they're not looking at what the kids are doing. Stephen Watson says, I used to swap toys like Action Man back in the 70s. Hey, I wasn't given Action Man. I got Combat Johnny. You were lucky. Oh, dear. Paul Fisher. It's not because no one has conversation. Go out and look at couples. They just sit in silence. Look at, yeah, you're dead right. Yeah, there's no conversation anymore. Everything's done by phone, all the media, social media. What have we got? We've got Snapchat, is it? WhatsApp. Everybody communicates via those devices, you know, and it's scary. I would not want to be a youngster like in my youth. I wouldn't want to be 20 or even a teenager at this moment in time. I just think back to how I was brought up. I mean, when I was in my bedroom, I had a radio and a cassette player, and I was so happy to have those. Nowadays, the kids in their rooms, they've got widescreen TVs, PlayStations, Xboxes, iPhones. You know, it's just all directed to distract people and take people away. You know, from distracting them from reality and what's important. You know, becoming digital. Everything's becoming digital. Everything. Paul Fisher. Yes, I used to swim in rivers, go fishing, and I was always outside playing. Good point, Paul. When I got home from school, I got changed out of my school clothes, put my old clothes on. I went into the park and I either went, you know, to have a game of football. There was 9 times out of 10, there was a group of lads there that wanted a game of football, or I'd go on the park itself, go on the swings, go to the library. You know, nowadays they come home from school and what do? Straight upstairs into their bedrooms, close the door onto media, social media or Xbox, PlayStation, you know, isolating themselves from the rest of the world. Paul Fisher, let's see, Snap Rob, I'm glad I was born when I was. As if I was born now, I would rebel big time. Yeah. How old are you, Paul? Stephen Watson, yeah, I did that Sunday nights, the top 40, press record and try and press pause when they did the talking in between the songs. Yeah, those were the days, eh? Yeah, then stop before the DJ ruined it. That's the one. Lorraine Wood, let's see. Great old British pub is good for chatting, meeting up, but sadly they're dying a death, especially it's very true, Lorraine. Where I used to live down south in Bournemouth, and I had a lovely little pub local to me. It was about a 7-minute walk from where I lived, and it was set back off the main road. But the people that used to go in there, it was a combination of young, old, middle-aged, and the atmosphere was absolutely phenomenal. You don't get that anymore. What you get now is if you go into a pub and you look over, somebody comes up and says, who are you effing looking at? You know, drugs. You know, when I went to, in my younger days, when I went to nightclubs, we went to nightclubs to carry the evening on and enjoy the evening. All right, I'm not saying drugs didn't happen, they obviously did. But people went out just for a good time to carry on the evening, and they went home, behaved themselves. But nowadays, it's all drug orientated, all or people want to start fights, and you know, which is why one of the main reasons why I don't go out to pubs much. I'd rather have a drink at home, know I'm safe, blah de blah, and it's a lot cheaper as well. Oh, Paul, 50, yeah. So you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, you're only like 12 years younger than me, so you know exactly where we're coming from in this one. Yeah. Oh, Steve Watson, he says I'm 52. So yeah, we're all in the same sort of generation, aren't we? Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've got 9 people. It's been a fantastic response tonight. It was very short notice when I said I was going to do this video with Richard tonight. So I really appreciate everybody coming on and, you know, having a say. Oh, hi, Dad, 57. Thank you very much. Yeah, we are all in the same sort of bracket. So we're all on the same wavelength, aren't we? You know, I mean, nowadays, I mean, I don't know what the schools are like for after school activities, but when I was at school, I played in the football team, I played for the rugby team, I played in the chess team. You know, I got involved. Nowadays, they can't wait to get out of the school buildings, get home on their Xboxes or PlayStations. It's so sad. And this is where the media, this is where technology has taken the youngsters today, or playing a game of football. You know, them days are gone. Them days are gone. It's so sad. And we enjoyed it. You know, like I said, I only had a radio and a cassette player, and I was happy. I was so happy. Yeah. Okay, Paul Fisher. Yeah, we're on the same wavelength. We certainly are, my friend. And Steve Watson says, great chat. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure to have you with us, Steve. We do appreciate your feedback and your comments. So it looks like Richard is still struggling to get on. I thought he might have got back on by now. But yeah, primarily, as always, what does tend to happen, we deviate slightly. We go off on different tangents, different subjects. But Easter, you know, like Christmas, birthdays, Valentine's, all not only after getting people's money and commercialized, but all of them, every single one of them, all steeped in pagan origins, you know, and this is how the devil works. He gets into people. We have to be so careful about the things we watch on TV now. You know, I used to watch a lot of TV. I used to love my movies, but I'm very selective now on what I watch. Very, very selective. I try and keep to like the information documentary style type channels, National Geographic, wildlife, and you know, I'm not saying that watching the other stuff like the soaps and all that is wrong. It can be entertaining, but you've got to agree with me when I say that most of the soaps, EastEnders, Coronation Street, it's all depressing. There's always something bad happening. So is that what people want? Is that what they need? To see bad people suffering, to see hurt, and you know, but there you go. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to be cutting off. What time we've been on? 1 hour and 8 minutes at this moment in time. I've probably got to come off about 9:15. I'm hoping Richard can get back on before then. We shall see how it goes. We try and cover a variety of subjects, me and Richard, primarily about current events, what's going on. Like that's why we did the video tonight, because obviously being Easter time, it was very relevant to what's going on right now. Deborah says Australian TV, mostly game shows, heaps of every channel, and cooking shows, not a lot else. Well, I actually like cooking shows, Deb. I mean, I love cooking myself. I love experimenting with food, especially spicy food. Now, my other half, unfortunately, she doesn't like spicy, so I have to be very careful about what well, not what I make, but how I make it. I mean, she will eat a chili, she will eat a curry, but I usually have to do it in 2 separate pans because mine is like Madras strength, whereas hers will be more like tikka masala strength, maybe. But yeah, I love cooking, and I love watching cookery programs as well. Many a time I get most of my ideas from YouTube, you know, cooking ideas like making your own bread without an oven and that type of thing. Yeah, Bond says New World Order is on the cards if the controllers have their way. Yeah, that's coming that way. The New World Order, that's what their main goal is, my friend. Deborah says I prefer gardening. Well, I'm quite lucky where I am. I don't have a garden, so I don't have the worry of having to maintain a garden. I did grow some tomatoes last year on my balcony. Well, the year before that, I grew about 12 tomato plants, and it just overtook my other half went mental with me. There was no room to sit out there. So that last year, I cut it down to about 4. And it was fantastic. I got quite a good crop from the tomatoes. All right, Lorraine, have to go now. Thank you, Lorraine, for joining us. You take care, my love, and we'll hopefully see you in the near future. Paul says, "Night, Lorraine. Take care." Deborah says, "Good night, Lorraine." So how many of the people watching out there tonight have bought Easter eggs for their kids or for grandkids or friends? I know that if I had the choice, I would soon have a big bar of chocolate from a value point of view, how much chocolate you get. But you know, oh, it looks like Richard might be coming back. Let's have a look. There he is. Yeah. And to stream. Thank you for your patience, everybody. It looks like he's back on now.
Can you hear me, Rob?
Yes. Welcome back, Richard.
Thank you. Sorry it took so long. I got said I'm fully loaded up my I haven't fully loaded up my computer yet, so I'm still messing around. But
I've just been talking about Easter eggs and the value of the chocolate and what the Easter eggs cost, and all the comments I'm getting here is no, I'll give them cash or blocks of chocolate, you know. So which, you know, I would sooner have. If somebody said to me, "Do you want a little Easter egg?"
Hello.
Do you want a little Easter egg that costs about £6? Or would you like 3 200-gram bars of chocolate? I know what I'd choose.
Oh yeah.
Good to have you back, Richard.
Hey.
Good to have you back, my friend.
It's good to be back. It just shuts down. It does it quite it does it quite often, really. But what I try to do is I try to get on using my internet on my phone.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't let me on YouTube unless I updated my browser to a Google Chrome.
Right.
Okay, which I ain't gonna do that. So otherwise, I would have come on. I'd have tried it out using this, but I don't use this for the internet at all, really. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year if I'm out with my mum and we want to find out something. You know, so the phones, you know, it's technology. Even this technology, Rob, the computer and all this, we're gonna have to say goodbye to it one day.
Oh yeah.
Out of choice.
I don't think that. Yeah. In a lot of respects, that won't be a bad thing. I was just talking, you know, before you came back on, I was talking to quite a lot of people about the good old days and how we had little, but, you know, like entertainment wise, after school we'd go out, have a game of football.
Oh yeah.
You know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the kids just go upstairs and shut the door, lock themselves in, and go on the PlayStation or Xbox,
Yeah.
and you know, WhatsApp and all the social media and all that, and just get lost in it.
They changed it now. It's what the F's at. What the F's at.
Yeah.
What the F.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to, everything used to be, you know, we all, I mean, you're the same as me, Rob. You would have had it similar to me. I was brought up on a council estate and there were shed loads of children about, always out. But everything was like family. You know, the neighbours were family.
Yeah.
You know, you could trust, you could leave your, well, you remember this. You could, you know, go out and not worry because you left your back door unlocked and things like that. And I mean, I was born in 1964. That was sort of like the cusp of people getting a bit worried, perhaps. But you know, society's drastic. It's changed. It's totally the opposite to how I remember it, how I was brought up. And it grieves me to know that the children of today ain't getting the same upbringing as I had, and the same joy out of playing and you know, and being interacting with other children. Because even, you know, even at school they say, well, if you homeschool, for example, homeschooling, they say, well, it ain't really good for children's interaction. But if a child at school, they're not interacting apart from like half an hour at playtime or 20 minutes at playtime, and that's it. And then it's back to stress, having to learn and remember stuff you're not really interested in. They want to, absolutely. They want to break up the family unit. You know, the one sort of good thing about the time of Easter, but it shouldn't be called Easter. It should be called, you know, like I said, the resurrection. It's all about resurrection. And you know, and being sort of reborn. But you know, and Christmas, I see them as family times. It's the only sort of times when families traditionally get together and share, and just share that joy of being part of a family. That's the only benefit out of, you know, things like Easter. And
Paul's made a good point, because you said this to me just recently. Paul Fisher has said we used to have wire fences so you could see your neighbours and chat. Now no one knows the neighbours because they've all got 6-foot fences up. And that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I got a video. I took a video actually. Walking up to my allotment, there's a house, and it's got a 6-foot. It's got a 3-foot mesh fence. Behind it, it's got a 6-foot panel fence, but it's still got the 3-foot high fence. I could dig it out now. I know where it is. And I was using that, and I bumped into a I forget her name. I bumped into her and I said, oh, can you remember the time when she was young and she was from Africa, okay? And they sort of come over here. I know her husband, Manuel. He's a Jehovah's Witness. And but I said to her, can you remember the time when it was just little mesh fences? Because I was actually videoing this fence, these two fences, and just everything was really about, but I got cut off and camera just played up and packed up when I sort of got into it. But they didn't have fences at all. You know, there weren't any barriers in between people's houses. No. You know, everybody was used to be sort of neighbourly. And
it's like they want to avoid people interacting. Well, look at the last 2 years, Richard. What was the purpose of that?
It was to isolate people.
And
it was to isolate people.
And to stop people getting together, talking.
100%, yeah. 100%.
Questioning things. Yeah.
And there's so many different elements to just being locked up, or, you know, with all that. There's so many different elements to do with personal health, to do with mental health, to do with physical health as well, because people were scared to go out, so they wouldn't get the exercise, and I'll call it fresh air. You know, there's so many elements to it. And then there was that, because I actually witnessed them sticking a flipping great tower up, a cell tower. You know, so was that, and down at the school down the road, they had builders working on that during the whole lockdown. So there was a lot of elements to that the past 2 years that and here's another thing is when people are locked up in their homes, what do? They watch television.
Yeah.
You know? Absolutely. And it's all fear porn. It's all fear porn. And when the news first broke, I'd gone up to North Wales, Llanbarfecon in North Wales to be with my beloved. To spend it was like I think it was December the 30th or the 29th. And she's got the telly on all the time. Or not all the time, she watches the television. And it was on, and I'm sort of sat there, and on come the news about this thing from China. And I'm like, I'm expecting something. Yeah, I'm expecting something. It didn't bother me. But anyway, there was a bit of a family crisis. She had to jet off to London, so I came back early, back to Taunton, on a packed train. But I knew I was expecting something. It was as soon as 2020 hit, I knew something was going to happen, and it did. But everything was like fear. It was like pumping fear. And I said, no, I can't. I just can't watch that. I just can't watch it because I knew I had an idea that something was happening. I didn't realize it was that until that moment when I seen it on the television, and just every channel was like playing this flipping narrative all the same. And then you know, and then you got the isolation. So I know what people are subjected to because it was constant non-stop. Not that I witnessed it myself because I ain't got a telly, but you just look at people's reactions, and you know, I say, you trust the BBC?
Richard from Boston. You know Richard from Boston, yeah?
I know, yeah.
He said, turn your TV off, look outside, you won't see any pandemic. There's nothing out there. Turn your TV off and look outside. Don't look at the TV, look outside. There's nothing happening.
Yeah.
People, especially the older folk, stuck in their houses, glued to the TV, hearing the fear mongering day after day after day. Absolutely terrified, mate.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I've given up now. Not me. I still got a guy, but I've just given up that. Just trying to convince people, really hardcore trying to convince people, because it's too. For one thing, it's going to be too late. For most people, it's too late.
Yeah.
So that burden, because it is a burden when you know something that nobody else knows, you know, in your little street or your community, or very few people know. When you know it, it's like, oh, it's a burden, isn't it? It's a burden knowing something is going on and nobody else knows about it. It's a burden that needs to be told.
Yeah.
So I've sort of lost that burden now. It's not my responsibility anymore to warn people about certain things to not get, like
vacation. 3 vacations in a year.
Yeah, glucose fructose syrup. That's what I'm talking about. That burden has now been lifted off my shoulders because I do carry him. I carry him like, you know, if it's like, you know, once you've seen something, it's you know, it's a burden having eyes to see sometimes, which it is, but it's also good for being cautious and how we walk and who we trust. And that all comes
from here for 30 seconds, Richard. Sorry. Carry on, my friend. Nature calls. It might be a little bit more than 30 seconds, but nature calls. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. What am I going to talk about? I'll talk about Easter.
Well, if you want to write an essay, a 6-page essay, the subject being the inside of a ping pong ball, I'm sure you'd manage that very well.
Ping pong ball. The
No,
moon.
the inside of the ping pong ball.
The inside of the moon. Hollow moon. You're talking about hollow moon. And the moon is Ishtar. Ishtar is the moon goddess. If anybody's missed it.
There you go. I'll be back in 30.
Okay, now. So I've got to talk about myself now. Anybody want to come on? Deborah Roll. Yes, Paul. Australia is unrecognisable from the place I grew up in. Scary place. Now I have my purse stolen. Sitting. Oh, yeah, I can remember you saying that, Deborah. And it is like every man. I wish I had the power to highlight some comments. But Deborah, I do. You know, it can be such a burden. Being victims is a burden. Yeah, it's a burden. Being on your own is a burden unshared, isn't it? Stephen Watson. Yeah, cheers, Stephen. I missed a lot of the chat, but yeah. So I got this video that I'm sort of working on. Let's start out with me in the church with the moon, massive moon, by an artist that seems most of his artwork seems to glorify sun worshipping and things like that, and spirals. Well, we know what spirals are. So it's part of the system, but and they politicized the church. Now,
Rich,
yes, mate.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you just mentioned spirals there, and I thought I needed to mention one. What I think is important. There was a console that they brought out for youngsters called Dreamcast, and their logo for that Dreamcast was a spiral.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Dreamcast?
I remember the name. I'm familiar with the
name.
Sega. Oh yeah. I'm familiar with I'm familiar with the name Dreamcast. And then you've got what you've got Dreamcasting. Well, casting. It's like casting. Like casting is when you're like sowing seeds. You know, we're not sowing the seeds of Jesus. They're not sowing the seeds that Jesus was sowing. They're sowing
or casting a spell.
It's casting a spell, yeah.
Yeah. Dreamcast. I just thought that was significant. When you mentioned spiral, and I thought that spiral was their logo for their console.
Well, it's symbolic of paedophilia for one thing. I know it's symbolic of paedophilia. Sort of like messaging and things like that. But you know, there's going to be other connotations to it. But yeah, spiral.
But there was a movie as well. Excuse me. There's a movie, Saw. His logo was spiral as well.
Oh, was it?
I've seen that. It's all tied up, isn't it?
Oh, that's, yeah. And I know there was like a chemtrail that went. This is a few years ago. There had some sort of meteor or something like that, or chemtrail, but that made a spiral. At night it was. This happened at night. Spiral, and that Tower of Babel would have been a spiral, up like that.
Yes,
And there is a book by, is it William Golding, The Spire? I'll look it up. There's a book by The Spire. No, it's about, I'm looking at The Spire by William Golding.
Bond's made a good comment. I've seen the Spire symbol on many children's toys. Signs and symbols mean everything.
Yeah.
And what did they say when there was one guy quoted? Once you can read the signs and symbols, you will be enlightened. Words to that effect.
Yeah. That might have been a Crowley thing, Rob.
Yeah.
You know,
might be.
Well, because you were like reading, he quoted like reading backwards and things like that. You know, learn how to walk backwards, read backwards.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, the opposite of walking forward, isn't it? I got
As
something.
above, so below.
I got something for you. You like this? You might not. You see that?
Oh, it's a sausage roll.
There's a cat's bumhole.
Yeah. I like that.
Stream, mate.
Yeah. Did you just do the 666 there, Richard?
Yeah, I did.
I thought you were a stonemason.
I am a stonemason, but this is what I had. I had a bumhole. This is what that's a cat's bumhole. You couldn't see that, could you? That's what I did. That. This is how I imagine them looking through a bumhole.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, stuff that. I wouldn't know where to begin. If I went in the Freemasons, I would laugh and I'd say, you know, why are you wearing a frilly apron and things like that? You know, honestly, I would laugh. I mock them. I smile. I just smile at them. You're a Freemason, and I say it to everybody I meet. I say, Freemason.
When they're dressed up in all their garb.
Like,
when they're dressed up in all their garb, like at Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
The president, Bush, all dressed up with all his robes on, you know.
Yeah. You know, and it's the same with the church. The church, you know, going on. This is still in tune with Easter because, you know, why aren't the church? If the church were of Christ, we're talking about the Church of England here. I've got a few notes actually. I'll read out. These are from my the video I'm going to be making. I'm I just keep getting things to add. Now I watched a video this morning from I can't remember the name of his channel, but he does a daily little chat, scriptural, but he wanders around graveyards and he sits in this specifically he calls it his favorite church, which is, and he mentioned this morning, and I'm sat in my favorite place, but it's a Church of England church, and these are the notes I took off of a lot of things. You can't read them. Okay, I'll read them out, but that's basically what he's done. Is this is more fuel for this video I'm making. It was basically just about the moon being in the church. There's a Church of England is the institutional church of the UK. Okay. Now, I said to you in that conversation earlier on, I said about I said to this this house church I go to, I said to the host, I said, the Church of England is like the state church. And he said, nah, there's no such thing as state church. I said, well, it represents England, so surely it must be the state. No. Anyway, so this gentleman this morning, I watched his video. He mentioned this the institutional church of the UK is Church of England, and I totally agree with him. The church is a business, which it is.
Yeah.
And they have a voice in politics, which they shouldn't have.
Yes.
Because they use on about immigrants and something like that. I haven't seen it. I didn't follow that. But so they now have a voice in politics. And politics now has a voice in this church, in this local church that turned to a minster. And then you've got the hierarchical system of the church. Okay, so you've got the minions, that's like, well, peasants, that's like you and me sitting in the pews, and then you've got a hierarchical system within the individual churches, and then you're going into the diocese, and then you're going up to the Archbishop of Canterbury that is at the top of the Church of England. And now what they've done with this minster now is they're welcoming other denominations. So they will then have dominion. The Archbishop of Canterbury will have dominion then over like the Anglicans and just all these other little denominations that that are separate from the Church of England. And then he got into things like about dressing up, pride of procession. That's another thing you mentioned, the pride of procession. So they're like the Freemasons. They strut around like they're God's gift to fashion in their regalia. The same as the archbishops, the same as these ceremonial vicars and priests, and you know, they dress in gold braid and, you know, velvet and, you know, really ornate hats. You know, what they should be doing is where, if anything, they should be blending into the background with just their voice being pronounced.
Well, all this garb that they wear, like the bishop's hat and all that, it's all pagan.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Fish hats and things like that.
All pagan. And, you know, this is why so many people are confused today. This is why you know, people have got to realize that to find Jesus, it's an individual thing. It's got to be in your heart for one thing.
Yeah.
To find
Rob, you need to know about it.
Yeah.
We can't
they've blinded the minds of people. The churches are guilty. They've blinded the minds. They've taught them false teachings.
Absolutely.
Taught them false teachings. It's terrible. And like I said to you on the last time I spoke to you, you've got two sides, two clergy. You've got two countries fighting one another. Both sides are blessing each army.
Yeah.
The head of the clergy are blessing their army, blessing their weapons.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
And what does the Bible say is the weapon? What does the Bible say is our weapon? It's the word of God.
Yeah.
That's our weapon, the word of God. It ain't a knife, it ain't a gun, it ain't a tank, it ain't a nuclear missile. It's the word of God. That's our weapon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, the whole system is corrupted 100%. And I got another note here. Any system that is hierarchical, which the church is pretty much a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
You've got the archbishop at the top.
Yeah. And
then you've got all the minions below that, cardinals and all these. You know, same with the popery. Same with every. They've all got one at the top. It's a pyramid. It's a pyramid scheme, and the pyramid is rife. Pyramid symbology is rife in churches.
Yeah,
you just got sunburst and symbology is rife in churches. All you got to do is just know. As soon as you know, it's like boom. There's one there. Oh, boom. There's one there. Oh, there's a spiral there. It's like they just sort of punch their way out at you. You know, from the depths of mayhem will come a symbol.
Yeah.
And that's where we get the eyes to see, particularly when we're trying to witness. I class myself as a witness. I'm a witness, and that's why I ended up in the church. And this was the last day of that exhibition. It was on for 10 days with the giant moon, and I hadn't gone in there. I got in there to try and get some photographs of the letter J and the eye anomaly, because they got 5 in there. They got 5 examples at least that I found. But and I'm faced with this flipping great moon. Now I got in there at 1:45, and they shut the doors at 2 o'clock. So did God leave me there to get me there just in time to witness that? I think, yeah. I was there as a witness. And I've been going in there for a long time. And that's the church that brought me out of the Church of England when I denounced Church of England. And I went freelance Christian.
Yeah.
And another thing they got in there, which is part 2 of this Satan in the Church little series thing, is, and I told you this the last live stream we did, is they've removed Revelation 13 and 14, chapters 13 and 14 from the Bible they use. It's interesting when I release that video, because there ain't a lot I've got to do to it, but I want to get this moon one out first.
Right.
I had a chat with the verger. He wasn't aware of it. I mentioned the Mandela effect. I said, "Have you heard about the heavens in heaven?" And then he went on a little bit about, it was a new international version I was brought up with, which did mention heavens. So, but he was sort of like backed off, conspiracy. We've got a conspiracy nut here. But I said to him, why are they taken out? I got it. I've recorded it. Why are they taking out 13 and 14 Revelation? That's probably one of the most important things of this current time.
Yeah.
And so relevant, and so coincidentally spot on. And he said, well, you know, the higher bit, the powers that be, declared or decreed that it is it's not, I can't remember what he said now, it's not necessary. But when I release that video, it'll be probably in 2 videos time. Actually, the next one will be the one about the moon, which is Ishtar, moon goddess, which is Easter, which is pagan. Everything's alluding to that. The politics getting involved in when they turned it into a minster, and the minster is a pyramid scheme. The minster is a part of a pyramid scheme for a diocese. If you've got a minster, that is the epicenter of a specific area as far as churches go, and they're leading.
I'm going to have to cut you short, Richard, because I've got to go, my friend. I'm really sorry.
Don't say sorry.
It's nearly 9:30. I'm about 5 minutes, 10 minutes over time what I originally planned.
That's no worries.
So we look forward to joining you again.
Yeah.
You know, and we can carry this conversation on our next video. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight and your comments. We really, both myself and Richard, appreciate your feedback and your interaction with us. We appreciate the support, and we're trying to do our bit, aren't we, Richard? You know.
Well, we're trying to do something. Ultimately, it's just to lead people to a fearless, peaceful life on this shitty earth.
You've got it. You've got it.
And then, you know, at the end of the day, it is. People need to realise if you're struggling in this world, you ain't on it.
Yeah.
And then there is a clause to get you out, and it ain't Santa Claus. It's God's clause. It's to get us out of here. Yeah. And that's as simple as that, really. Paul, God bless you.
I did text David Yates tonight to say I was going live with you, and said hopefully you can come in with a few comments or join us. But obviously he's a busy guy, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I know he's got a lot of. I know he's got a lot on, and he's also delving into this that water video. Good Bon. So I know he's burdened. He's burdened just because he's a deep researcher, and he's burdened. He's burdened. He's burdened with what he sees, and he's burdened with what he has to expose, really, and burdened by certain restrictions which allow him to don't allow him to expose. In this beast system, it's all part of the beast system. But it's up to you, Rob. You just got to shut us down. But
thank you again, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm glad you managed to get back in.
Yeah.
You left me stranded a bit. I was struggling a little bit on my Todd.
Now you know how I felt, Rob.
Yeah.
I kept going for 4 hours. I couldn't believe it. I'm like 4 hours talking.
You can talk for England. You can, Richard. You can talk for England, mate.
I'll talk for Jesus.
Yeah, bless you. God bless you.
So.
And thank you, everybody, once again. And we will all see you soon on the next stream.
Deborah.
And I will say good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Coming on my
Bye-bye.
next live stream. I'll do one. Maybe Wednesday.